Hey up, I'm Guy Kestevan, the Tester Man, and this is part 1 of my custom build-up on Mason's new Macro Adventure hardtail mountain bike frame. So in this first part, I'm going to be grabbing the camera and talking you through the details on this frame, because there is a lot to go through. British design frame, Italian artisan made, but absolutely packed with a ton of features to really boost the versatility of this bike. And then in subsequent sections, we're going to be going through what's probably going to be quite an eclectic build-up, as is my normal style. We'll do an initial build-up in the format you see now with the rigid fork, and then we'll explore other opportunities that this frame gives us, such as a suspension fork, maybe different bar configurations as well, because the whole point of this macro frame is to create a super versatile, super configurable, all-terrain bike, because it really is going back to those original roots of mountain biking where I kind of got into it in the late 80s, and it's probably going to be going on similar trails as well, so hence the retro Tudor Sport CTC top here. But anyway, I'll stop waffling on, I'll grab the camera, and let's have a look at the real star of this show, this new Mason Macro. So the Macro is the 10th bike in the Mason range, and Mason themselves have been going for 10 years now. So it's a big anniversary for Dom Mason and his team, and this special launch edition colourway, this Techno Grigio, as they call it, sort of technical grey. It looks a bit like Air Defence Grey, the NATO colour as well, but this is a launch colour, and on these on the first edition bikes, you get this A Decade of Details special monogram on there as well. And they also do a launch edition tilt shift, which is a kind of really nice coppery bronze with a kind of chameleon effect. And you can see it's an Italian tube set. The whole bike is manufactured in Italy to Mason's specific tubing designs. I mean, Dom actually makes a point of going over there and working with the guys in the factory. You know, literally they'll spend a whole day, for example, shaping and bending those rear stays to get them just right in terms of the curvature for the spring and for fitting the tyre clearance and everything like that, and the fixtures. So it really is a proper custom collaboration. I don't know anyone who's quite as obsessed with his tubing as Dom at Mason is. And it's a 7000 series, endurance optimized, and basically it's a variant of Dodachai's kind of 29er race bike tubing. So a very lightweight, very thin-walled, multi-butted custom tube set, and then specific Mason features built into that. And so you've got this large 56mm head tube on there, because this is the first Mason that actually has internal cable routing as an option. You can see you've got all the different micro port. You've got all the different multi-port inserts here, so you can run them blanked off like I have here, or you can run them open for hoses and cables. But for sort of maximum cleanliness, God, talking about maximum cleanliness, and I haven't cleaned the stem properly, I've just boshed that on there. Anyway, ignore that. For sort of maximum cleanliness, and so the cables and controls don't get in the way of bags, because obviously this is a bike that's going to design to spend a lot of its time loaded. This Dodachai headset actually has a little scoop there and a feed down the front of the steerer, so you can run your controls fully internal as well. And also you can see you've got a gusseted front end on there and big chunky welds all the way around. So what you've got is a very, very strong front end, so they can have a short head tube, but big weld areas there onto that butted down tube. And then as it comes down, it kind of goes from round again to a very flat format there. On the through BB, again, this is another Mason specialist feature. You've got this really big oversized BB. It's actually a standard BSA threaded, it's not T47 or anything like that, but the idea is it gives you plenty of room underneath the bottom bracket shell for being able to pass through your brake and gear hosing if you want to. And then the top tube, again, you can see it's a very flat profile on it. That not only gives you a nice bit of leaf spring compliance along the length of it, it also means that it's still very stiff in terms of steering accuracy, because you're resisting the twist in that plane, And it also means if you're bike packing and you're hiker biking for considerable distances, it's got that old cyclocross bike advantage of having a flat underside, like a boost bar. Slightly, it's not slightly rippled. Anyway, God, no one's even going to get that reference, are they? You've got a flatter surface for tucking your shoulder in there and carrying it as well. And then on the seat tube, you can see a very, very subtle kink just at the bottom to give full 29 by 2.4 tyre clearance with bridgeless stays on the chainstay. So the actual chainstays are relatively short and it's bridgeless at the top as well. So you've got the maximum length of unwelded, unbraced stay on chainstay and seat stay to put some compliance into the short rear end. And I'll be talking about the geometry as the last part of the frame. But so there's a lot of structural thought gone into this frame, and it's a UDH now as well, but it's a specific Mason UDH dropout. So you can see not only is it monogrammed, but you've also got properly drilled and threaded rack mounts in there with the bolts are already in there. There's actually 28 different mounting points on this frame and on the fork. And then you've got a nice through axle there. You can see there's a little rubber O-ring detail there, because that means you can pop out this axle lever on the front here. Not sure I can do it one-handed, but anyway, no, let's not make a pig's ear of it. That pops out and it's got a 6mm Allen key on the inside. So you can either have that in the front or on the rear with those specific Mason axles. It's just, and then of course, you know, having UDH on the back not only means you can run T-type SRAM derailleurs, which, you know, obviously more common on mountain bike now, but they will be coming through on gravel. They're already on the Red Explorer setup, but I still think we can see them coming in gravel. But in this instance, obviously, it means you can run T-type, but not just that. It means you have got genuinely universal spares availability. If you happen to damage the rear hanger, you just go, I need a SRAM UDH. You don't need a specific Mason component like you would with an old school derailleur hanger. That used to be a nightmare. And then you've got post mount rear brake there, and then that's matched with a post mount on the fork. So as it's a mountain bike frame, it is, you know, it's ready to take mountain bike brakes. They haven't gone for a flat mount. They've gone for post mount, so you can use a proper mountain bike setup on there. Again, 31.6 seat post. So while I've got the Mason Rigid Penta carbon seat post in here, you can also run it with a wide variety of dropper posts, because 31.6 is kind of the most common seat post diameter. Plus, there's a little bit more beef in that seat post and that seat tube area to cope with a large bike packing bag or whatever hanging off the back of the saddle on particularly rough roads. And a lot of the inspiration and design refinement and kind of proving ground work has been done by Mason's endurance athletes, folks like Becky Surridge, Josh Ibbott, and Angus Young, who just won the Dales Divide race, 600k back from coast to coast across the Yorkshire Dales and Moors, and he used this macro in the production form to win that race, but he did a lot of the testing. And the idea of this bike is it takes that versatility and that endurance geometry and mountain bike capability of the ISO adventure bike, but puts it into a much lighter aluminium framed format. So this, I mean, it's not a super light frame. This large is 1980 grams, so a little bit heavier than the XL Specialized chisel I had. And to be honest, this bike is kind of a replacement for my much loved chisel in terms of what I'm hoping to make it into and the rides I'm hoping to do on it. Those kind of proper long explory rides, but also having a bit of fun locally, just chasing down gravel bikes and even roadies on a bike that will look quite chunky, but I'm hoping will build up pretty light and very responsive, because I'm a massive fan of the Mason Boca, which is their alloy framed gravel bike. That's got a real zing and life to it. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing if this bike just brings that kind of liveliness and get up and go attitude into the fat tired arena while still being a really good colleague and alloy on longer rides. And so just finishing off on the frame details, like I say, rack mounts at the rear. You've got a really neat little seat clamp there with a replaceable adjuster on it. You can also have a light setup built in if you go for the complete bikes, and in that case that actually has a specific insert that makes it a light mount. You see down here you've got those multi-port blanking plate on there, which will give you a clue what I'm doing with the gears. You've got another Make Progress. It's all very, you know, it's the Fast Far brand. It's all Make Progress. It's all very affirming and sort of long distance aspirational branding with Mason, which I thoroughly approve of, because that's, you know, that's their bag really, is bikes with bags on. So water bottle cage mount on there, a 3-stop option there, so you can have either a anything cage or high or a low bottle mount position. You've got another under the belly there. I'm interested. I'm surprised that isn't an everything cage, but you know, that obviously gives you a bottle mount option there. And then you've got 2 bag mounts up here for your top tube, fuel tank bag, whatever you want to call it, so that can direct mount on there. And then you've got this specific made for Mason hot shoe fork on there. Again, Dom obsesses so much about his frame design that he doesn't want to kind of be held hostage by a fork that he doesn't think match up to the performance of it. So all Mason bikes come with their own forks. Well, each category of Mason bike comes with its own fork. This hot shoe is actually shared with the ISO as well. And you can see it's absolutely loaded with features. So currently using this tri-bolt mount with this shutter. Again, purpose-built rack come fender. You can see it's got slots there for various strap mounts on there, and a little lip on the back to stop it spray getting up in the headset, and obviously a big old beak on the front to stop it flying up over your bags and into your face when the conditions are bad. Or if you want heavier load, then there's this condenser rack which can handle up to 8 kilos. That shutter rack can handle 2 kilos, but this steel condenser rack, again, handmade in Holland by a company that's been making racks for over 100 years. I mean, it's a bit of a chunk of weight because it's steel, but so it weighs in 500 grams, which is only 200 grams less than the entire fork, because it's a carbon steerer on this Hot Shoe 2 fork as well. But that's kind of there. It actually looks like you could feed horses out of it. But anyway, that's there as your sort of utility heavy lifter option. And then you've got everything cage mounts down the fork legs. You've got very discreet fender mounts in there. You've got internal routing for dynamo and for your front brake as well. And as I say, it's a post mount. And then you've got that same through axle there with that removable 6mm handle on it. And it goes without saying, because it's a mountain bike setup, it takes a 29er boost wheel set, and also it's fully certified to all the mountain bike safety standards as well. So this is a properly tough frame designed to take a real hammering. And that includes the paint as well. It's fully corrosion proofed, and then it gets an acrylic coating, then a top coat, and then I think it's 2 coats of super tough sort of clear coat lacquer over the top of that, or clear coat paint. Sorry if I've got that wrong, Dom. But anyway, tough as hell paint on a really, really well put together, beautifully handmade in Italy frame set, which, you know, means it's not coming cheap. It's 1,500 quid just for the frame set alone. But the interesting thing is, if you actually look at the complete builds, they're really, really good value. I'm not sure quite how Dom does it. Maybe he's just very persuasive with his suppliers, but the complete builds are actually really, really good value. It's kind of similar to the way Kotick do things, where sometimes the frame looks expensive, but actually when you look at the complete builds, they actually stack up really well against mainstream opposition. And you are just not going to find this level of attention to detail in terms of all the features and all the possibilities of this bike from a mainstream manufacturer, I don't think. Plus, you've got that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're supporting a small independent brand operating out of a very, very nice medieval barn on the South Downs, who support a load of athletes who are truly invested in the scene that their bikes are developed for, and, you know, and will be very, very happy to see you come down there and try the bike out for yourself. But before we move on to the build, let's just have a quick word about geometry. So I've just flipped it round so you can have a look at the detailing on that UDH hanger on this side as well. We'll have another close-up look. Those beautiful, voluptuous curving stays. And you can see really, really thin profile right up here. And they're not just press-fitted mounts, by the way. They're properly welded in, super secure. And then you've got this blend across the seat stay to top tube there, so slightly overshot in terms of the width of the top tube, but that means it can blend really neatly into the seat stay there, which is both very engineeringly pleasing and aesthetically pleasing, although Dom always goes on about ride-driven design being the crucial part of the Mason bike, so they don't do anything purely for the sake of cosmetics. I think you can see he's also pretty fanatical about making sure his bikes look absolutely gorgeous as well. Sorry, I'm getting carried away with the cosmetics here, and I was meant to be talking about geometry. So you've got a 67.5 degree head angle. You've got a 75 degree seat angle. I mean, obviously changes slightly depending on your seat post height and saddle height, because you have got that slight kink in the base there, but that's kind of ballpark at an average ride height. As an effective seat angle. You've got a 466mm reach on this large. It also comes in small, medium and extra large. Then you have got 432mm chainstays, which is, you know, a short chainstay for a bike with 29 by 2.4 tyre clearance, but then that's because you've got these really broad splayed chainstays but without a bridge in there. And you've got 63mm BB drop, and obviously once I've got wheels in there I'll give you a BB height. And then you've got a bottom bracket centre to top tube centre seat tube height of 420mm, and centre to top is 470mm. So, you know, it's not super slammed like you might get from an aggro hardtail, but you've still got plenty of room to use a dropper post in there without having a huge amount of shaft waggling about if you're doing a lot of mileage or you're sticking a bag on there. So again, it's all very, very deliberate choices. And obviously if you want more radical geometry and you want sort of cutting edge progressive hardtail geometry, then Mason also do the Raw, which is their steel trail hardtail. And I'll stick the link to that review up at the end, because that, again, absolutely gorgeous bike that, you know. But let's not get distracted by other bikes in the Mason range, because there's enough distraction in the build-up potential of this frame alone. And that is what I'm going to start digging into in parts 2, 3, 4, however many it takes of this Mason Macro series. Obviously there's going to be some build videos, which is where we'll go to next, and then I'll start moving into the ride videos. And if it's anything like the Chisel, which I'm really hoping it is, then we're going to have all sorts of adventures together, because me and that bike got on so well. So I'm really excited to see what I can do with this bike, because there are a lot of similarities. And the first build I'm going to do with this Mason Macro is where I was going to take that Chisel custom build next. So I'll let you puzzle what that might be. Have a guess in the comments if you think you can imagine where I might be going, or just suggest where you'd be taking this frame if you were lucky enough to have a Macro of your own to build up. And yeah, and also, obviously, if there's anything that I've missed out in this talk through, let me know in the comments. If I know it, I'll let you know there. If not, I'll get Dom on, and we might even do a live chat with Dom about the bike. There's a nice intro video actually on the Mason website too, where Dom talks about the bike and the influence and the athletes who helped him design it. But apart from that, if you be so kind as to do all those things that make YouTube go, oh, people like him, we'll spread the word a bit further, and also tell your mates, because your recommendation I think, and I hope, means a lot more to them than YouTube flagging up these videos, because it's you guys that really make this channel special by getting interactive in the comments and chatting about what I talk about with your mates, because that's the whole point of this. It's designed to be an ongoing conversation about new bike technology, about the adventures you can have with them, and all the kit that I'm lucky enough to test and have tested over, God, well, in terms of riding, the past 40 years, and in terms of testing, nearly 30 years now. But for now, I've been Guy Kesterman on Guy Kes TV, going on for a long old time about a bike that's designed to go on for a long old time. The brand new Mason Macro. Let's see where this bike takes me in terms of build and in terms of adventures next. God, that was cheesy. Even for me, that was cheesy. Go on, away with you.